Hi everyone, good evening. We will take 2 more minutes and then we will start just to see if a few more people will join. Okay. Okay, hi everyone, good evening. We're really happy to have you here tonight. Super excited for our Netina trip in Thailand. As I wrote on the email, we will go over the whole program, all the information you need, and finish with a Q&A. During the evening, we will also introduce ourselves as the Netina team. Um, if you have any questions during the time we are talking, feel free to write on the chat, and then in the end of the evening, if you still have questions, we can discuss. And that's all. Joel, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, I will do. Thank you, Ethan. So let me just introduce myself quickly. My name's Joel. I'm SNY's Executive Director. I have been working for SNY for 22 years now, for the last 10 years as SNY's Executive Director, kind of like responsible for all of our programs and stuff. Firstly, also just want to thank you. I know that we had arranged to do this at another time and things got moved around. A lot of that has got to do with kind of like my schedule, so apologies with everything which was going on with our Israel tour program and everything that's happened in Israel for the last couple of weeks. We just had to shift things around a little bit because we're under some immense time pressures. So I appreciate your flexibility and thank you. Yasmin, do you want to click onto the next slide? Okay, so this is kind of like the plan for the evening. I said the evening for the next little bit. Um, I won't kind of like talk exactly now about all of those things, but you can see these are the things that we're going to try and touch on and cover over the next half an hour to an hour. And as Yasmin said at the end, like there'll be time for questions. So if we haven't covered some of the information that you're looking for, then please do make sure you do ask that at the end. So let's move on again, Yasmin. In terms of like very, very briefly, because I'm sure that most of you do know who FZY are, but FZY is like the oldest and largest Zionist youth movement in the UK. We're a Jewish Zionist and pluralist youth movement, and we operate all throughout the UK. And we have weekly programming, we have seminars and Shabbotonim and summer camps and Israel tour programs and other travelable programs and gap years and we have like a wide variety of different programs that try to engage all of our members from like the beginning of secondary school, age around 11, through to the end of university, and often our alumni as well. So we are an organization that tries as much as we can to engage Jewish youth and try to engage them with with their Jewish identity, with Israel and to provide them with good values for them to grow up in the world. Yasmin, do you want to go on to the next slide? Okay, so this program, we're actually really excited because we've been running the Netina program now for I think since 2017. We've been running the Netina program, and actually this is the first time we're running it outside of Ghana. And it's actually Justify, who is going to be one of our partners, is actually the third partner we're going to be running it with. We've run it previously with an organization called SEDEC and another organization part of the Jewish Agency Project 10. This year, we're now going to be working with Justify, who are an amazing organization who run programs that they're actually Justify actually are a UK charity, although most of their staff are based in Israel, and they run programming for both bespoke programming, which is what they'll be running for us, and also they run just generic trips in a variety of different countries around the world. They provide Jewish kosher programming with Jewish values at its heart. And Justify for us will be like running kind of like the ground operations. They're the ones who in Thailand are have got all the contacts there in Thailand, both in terms of the accommodation, the different sites that we'll be going to visit, with the people on the ground, the different volunteer placements, all of these things. Like it's Justify have got those contacts. They work with dozens of different organizations from the UK, from America, and from beyond. And they take dozens of trips every year to amazing places in the world, Thailand being one of those venues which we'll be joining this year. So we're like very excited to be working with them this year and partnering with them this year. And we're very sure it's going to be kind of like the start for us of like a long-term partnership with them, both in Thailand and maybe other places beyond in the future. Uh, okay, so in terms of staffing, I'm going to pass on to Yasmin to kind of like talk us through who the staffing will be this summer.
Yeah, hi again. So we have a few staff members, both from Justify. We will be meeting them in Thailand when we land. One of them will be going with the group the whole trip, and some of them will be joining and leaving.
Yeah.
Including local tours, tour guides, and etc. And we have the two amazing FZY מדריכים, Jake and Libby. They have lots of experience with FZY, and we are very excited to send them to Thailand. And they will now introduce themselves shortly. We will start with Jake.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm Jake, um, and I'm actually currently working full time for FZY. I'm currently head of Israel Tour program. So, as Joel said at the beginning, it's been a very busy but very exciting few weeks. I've been full time at FZY for a year, and for the past few years, I've been involved as a volunteer as a madrich. I love nothing more than actually being on the ground, leading programs. And last year, when I took a year out and went traveling, I spent a lot of time in Thailand, and it was absolutely amazing. So I'm so excited to go back and to be leading your children in Thailand. Super excited.
Thank you, Jake and Libby.
Hi everyone, I'm Libby. I don't currently work for FSOY, but I've been involved pretty much since I did Israel tour myself about 5 years ago, and since then have been involved in pretty much everything it has to offer, including their gap year program in Israel. I've led camps, I've led seminars, and I'm currently studying medicine at university, and I am also really excited for Thailand this summer.
Yeah, so thank you. Basically, we have a Thailand expert and a doctor, so I think we are pretty fine. And back in the UK, I'm Yasmin. I'm the central shlicha working for the Jewish Agency and FZY this year. I'm the Rosh of Netina. I've been emailing you, and obviously, any question you have, feel free to contact me. Also, during the trip, I'm here for you. And also, we have Claire from the admin team of FZY doing all the passports and admin work needed. We will explain more about communication during the trip later. Yeah, but that's about the staffing. As you can hear, I'm Israeli, so if you call me, I might ask you to say what you said a few times, but eventually we will get there. And regarding the program, we will include a lot of adventures, as you can see in the schedule, trips around Thailand, waterfalls, very fun stuff. But also want to add an educational part to that, it's an educational trip and an FZY trip. So during the trip, they will be volunteering with elephants and with children, learning more about FZY values, Tikkun Olam, pluralism, Zionism, and Jewish values. And also, they will learn about human trafficking. They won't directly volunteer on human trafficking, as it's a complex subject, but they will definitely learn about that. And yeah, I will pass it back to Joel.
Fantastic. So yeah, we want to talk through now maybe some of the logistics. We're going to kind of also go delve a little bit more into the program in a second, but in terms of some of the logistics when it comes to departure. Um, so in terms of flying out, so we fly out at 6 p.m. on the 17th of August, and from Heathrow Airport. And so that's when we expect kind of like participants there to be making their way and then joining there. It's unlike if you joined us on the Israel tour program, when we'll meet separately for a small like a couple of hour orientation previously, because we've had an orientation seminar already for this Netina Thailand program. We're just going to meet directly at the airport. So we will make sure that Yasmin and Libby and Jake will all be at the airport there, and we'll obviously Jake and Libby will be going through with your children, um, and Yasmin will be there in case there's any issues, like throughout the whole check-in process. I can see you was asking what terminal. Actually, I'm not entirely sure on the top of my head, but I'll make sure that we get that information. We send that out to you. Um, so it'll be meeting, as you said, like late afternoon, early evening on that Sunday, and the participants will be kind of like on the flight. It's you can see here the flight is supposedly 11 hours 35 minutes. So it's obviously quite a long flight through to Thailand. Yasmin, do you want to go through to the next? So like the group are flying directly there into Bangkok. And you can see here, like this is a schedule. I think we sent this schedule out yesterday, maybe, to you, which is now our finalized schedule. I mean, everything is obviously subject to change. But you can see that like the way that the schedule works, like the beginning of the trip, the first couple of days will be based in Bangkok. Where there will be delving into different topics in terms of like human trafficking. And we'll be having some fun activities there as well, in terms of like yachting and some water fun, and obviously there'll be a full orientation in Thailand. We've done the pre-orientation, but an orientation when they get to Thailand to meet the Justify staff that Yasmin said will be there as well. On the Wednesday night, what they'll be getting on an overnight bus through to Chiang Mai. So Chiang Mai is in the north of Thailand, so they'll be heading up. It's quite a long journey there, but it's an overnight bus. As someone who's actually taken one of these overnight buses in Thailand before many years ago, they're actually quite comfortable for these overnight buses. So there'll be an overnight bus traveling to the north of Thailand into Chiang Mai, where they'll be spending the next couple of days there, including over Shabbat as well, where they'll be there. Obviously, when it comes to Shabbat, it'll be like a traditional SNY Shabbat, which will be run by Libby and Jake, with like services. Everything on our program is Shabbat friendly. And whilst we're in Chiang Mai, they'll be doing like a variety of like exciting programming and some of the more volunteer-based stuff, whether that's the eco cycling workshop, whether that's going to the ethical elephant reserve at that point, but also going to waterfall there, and like doing some like really kind of like exciting programming there. The group, then after the Shabbat finishes, the group kind of like is staying in the north, and is what it's going to do is like on the Sunday they're still in Chiang Mai, and then they move across to Chiang Rai, which is also in the north of Thailand. They're moving across there for the second for the final few days of the program. And as you can see, like there's in terms of like the activities, whether it's through hiking or through hot springs or through volunteering or through fun activities like going into caving and things like that. Like we're really kind of like exploring Thailand, really seeing kind of like a lot of the idea of this program is to kind of like understand and to try and understand kind of like a different country, more of a third world country to one that participants are normally used to. Enjoy kind of like the culture and the sites that the country has to provide, while also having different volunteering options, to understand kind of like some of the using like the values that like FZY are based on, to try to explore the country through those lenses as well. On the what will happen is like, so they stay in like in that north in the Chiang Rai in those last couple of days, and there'll be an internal flight, which will take the group back on the Thursday, which will take the group back to Bangkok, before or going on an early morning flight. What basically it's a middle of the night flight which leaves Bangkok, which on the Friday the 29th, which lands into the UK in the morning of Friday the 29th, in terms of like time zones. So it's kind of like it's quite a packed schedule, as you can see here. Really, as we said, mixed between fun, with fun and adventure, between culture and between kind of like Jewish values that we want to share, and some volunteering. So yeah, that's kind of like what the program looks like. Yes, okay. So in terms of like a accommodation and how we're doing, like these are the different hotels that the group will be staying in. It's similar to like for those of you that were on the Israel tour program, it's similar to that. Obviously, we're staying in accommodation, which is not, it's not taken over by us, and we're just like we're a small group within there. But like in these accommodations, we have our own private rooms, ensuite, like bathrooms, etc. Like in terms of like, so the participants have got their privacy. The Madrichim are obviously staying in exactly the same place in like rooms next door. So like these are the different locations where they're staying, apart from that one night that we spoke about when they'll be on that overnight bus through to Chiang Mai.
I do see a question on the chat about the bus. Is it a public bus or a private FZY bus? I don't know if Justify is booking a bus just for us. I assume it's a public bus because our group is small. Um, but yeah, Joel, anything else to say about that?
No specific. And like there will be like in terms of like moving around the inside the cities, like that it is done on is private accommodation, private buses, etc. But for moving from one location to another location, whether that's via a flight or whether that's via a bus, but they will have designated seating within that. It's not kind of like one of these free for all places. And these are routes which have been checked out in advance in terms of like their safety and security.
Thank you.
So yeah, we mentioned this is the night flight which is taking us back. So like participants should be landing back in the UK around 7:15 UK time on that Friday morning. And so that's where obviously we will check in on, we will kind of like be in touch with you if there's any delays. But again, families will be expected to come and pick up the participants from the airport on that Friday morning. Okay, in terms of medical needs and insurance and things like that. So like FZY provides health insurance and travel insurance for the program. It's all included. It's a package which it covers. It's a fairly standard like travel insurance and health insurance package. We can look at all the details that we will send through to you and make sure that you have them so you can understand what exactly is covered and isn't covered. But basically, all of the basic travel and health needs are covered as part of that insurance there. In terms of like what like are there in policy, both within Justify and FZY, that we can't offer medical advice as to what vaccinations are required. We ask you to kind of like have those conversations with medical professionals. However, when you kind of like look these things up in terms of like what it says here, the CDC website, but if you look at like the UK government website, the travel website as well, there's not necessarily like the most health professionals are not recommending it's the areas of Thailand that we're going, vaccinations kind of like more than what most participants already have in the UK in terms of their MMR, in terms of their tetanus jab and things like that. But like there are some other vaccinations which are, I don't know, it's not advised, but it's kind of like suggested you may want to get. But that's the type of conversation we recommend that you have with a health professional as to whether they, they do recommend. But there's nothing mandatory, which is not other within kind of like the norm within the UK in terms of what people generally have in terms of tetanus and MMR. Okay, so let's maybe just like go on to the next screen because I think like some of this will like kind of like talk through like we mentioned some of those things and some of them we'll be talking through here. So in terms of like what's the weather and what to expect in Thailand at this time, you can see that it's hot and humid at this time of year. So like that's that's the weather we can expect. It can be raining at times as well at this time of year, so it's something that should be expected. So that's just let's expect like hot, humid weather. In terms of kind of like packing, we're going to delve into that more actually in the next screen. But in terms of like suitcase and your allowance in terms of weight and things like that, you're allowed one suitcase, one check bag up to 23 kilograms, and when one personal item to bring onto the plane. Like we recommend a rucksack rather than a small like a roll on. So that's what we recommend. Yeah. Okay. And in terms of here also what we're recommending in terms of like some of the volunteering. Like some of the volunteering we'll be doing will be with children, and so it's one of the things that we felt would be nice would be to like to go to like one of the to bring a couple of these like very small gifts, whether to children, whether that's just like a pack of pens, whether it's like a pack of cards, like those types of things, which like when they're there volunteering with the kids, it's kind of like a nice gift to be able to give, which kind of like for I guess for a British family doesn't feel very much, but for someone in Thailand, a child in Thailand would kind of like feel very special. So there are probably chances to buy these things in Thailand, but if you want to be able to bring those things with you, that would obviously be great. Do you want to move on to the next screen? Okay, so SIM cards. So like there's a couple of options of SIM cards. Like number one is you can kind of like already speak to your own phone provider or to another phone provider in the UK, and or any of these kind of like online eSIM providers like Saily or some of these other companies where you can already in advance get an eSIM already kind of like set up. Alternatively, when we're in Thailand, there are different companies where you can get like a physical SIM. You do need to make sure though when you're doing this that your phone, that like the participant's phone will be unlocked, so that they will be able to accept a foreign SIM. Like we will help the participants as much as possible if there's any tech problems when they get to Thailand with the SIM cards not working. We can't, we're obviously not technicians ourselves, but we will kind of like help with that process. So we recommend either to buy one of these packages in advance through an eSIM, or at the time that we'll go on that first day, we can buy one of these prepaid SIM cards as well. In terms of like other expenses, like pretty much everything there is covered on the program. The only things which are really not covered on the program are things like snacks, bottled water, different like that's pretty and any gifts. Like everything is similar to like pretty much all of our programs really. From arrival to the program, which for us will be at Heathrow Airport, until them returning back again to Heathrow Airport. Everything in between, including accommodation, travel, staffing, insurance, activities, everything is covered. The only things that's not really is snacks, bottled water, and gifts. So we do recommend that participants bring a little bit of money. They certainly don't need too much. Things are not too expensive in Thailand. Things are generally quite cheap in Thailand, so they certainly don't need too much money. But they will be going to marketplaces, and they will be going to other places where they may want to buy some clothes, or they may want to buy some snacks, as we said. In terms of the electricity there, it's the two-pronged electricity which is there. So similar to how it would have been for participants on Israel tour last year, would be a similar the same adapter for that. So you need to make sure that you will be able to bring with you participants bring with them, and maybe one or two adapters if they're planning on bringing their phones to charge up and other things that they may need electricity for. So please make sure you it's that double pronged, but you do not need nothing on the word, not an adapter. You don't need the converter in terms of the electricity power. It's the same power as would be in the
Okay,
would
yeah,
you,
sorry, I just wanted to say about the SIM card. We told also the חניכים on our training day, we are not taking their phones, so they will be with their phones available. Of course, Shabbat friendly, and we keep Shabbat on public spaces. And doing activities, the madrichim will obviously make sure they are not on their phones, but besides that, we are not taking their phones. At some parts, the madrichim may tell the kids not to take pictures of certain stuff, as we told them also on the training day. But besides that, yeah.
Yeah, one actually thing, well, now you mentioned it, Yasmin, one other thing just to mention about just generally, and it probably you can actually move on to the next page about packing as well. I guess it fits also between phones and packing, but like we recommend, not really bringing in terms of like valuables. We recommend not really bringing valuables with you, or too many valuables. So if you're bringing a phone, like, obviously that's fine. We recommend you that most participants have phones, but, will have a phone with them either also for photographs as well as for communication. But like we don't want participants to bring like really expensive phones or tablets or jewelry or anything like that with them. We ask people to kind of like try to scale that back wherever possible. So that's one piece. In terms of clothing, like this is a packing list. I think this was also sent to you yesterday. I guess like a couple of things really just to highlight here. Like it'll be good to make sure that you have like long like things which cover up both your legs and the arms, as well as having kind of like short sleeve stuff. There'll be times where that will be um, needed and would be useful to have. Making sure he's mentioned as well that like it does rain at this time of the year in Thailand. It's hot and it's humid, but it does rain. So having some kind of like light proof, I'm sorry, like a light kind of like waterproof jacket or poncho or something like that, we do recommend. Obviously, like outside of that, like most of these things are fairly standard. There's nothing here, I think, which is kind of like too crazy, but we do recommend that you kind of like have a look there. There won't really be the opportunity for participants to do any laundry or anything like that. So we recommend that they bring enough clothing to wear for the whole time, or if not, to like bring some travel wash with them so they can to clean some of their clothes in the sink if need be. But yeah, the other thing that is obviously needed as well is required is making sure that there's proper like closed shoes in terms of like trainers or hiking boots or things like that. There'll be times when they're going out and require those because they're going, walking around both in urban and rural areas. So it's important they have like a proper pair of trainers and not just think that they're going to a hot country, and so and so like flip flops will do. Like we do need actual closed shoes as well. Yes, I don't think there's anything else specifically here. We do recommend that you just look through this properly and make sure that over the next few weeks that you have everything required. Okay, a couple of words in terms of like our code of conduct. Our code of conduct would have been sent to you as part of the online application form. Um, like our programs require all of the participants to adhere to the code of conduct. Like if we're group programs, we require the group educational programs, and we're taking participants to a country which they're not familiar with, to cultures they're not familiar with. And in order for us to be able to run a successful and safe program, we need to make sure that participants are adhering to the rules of the program, to our code of conduct. So that involves things, it's a lot involved around respect, whether that's respect to their peers, respect to their staff, respect to the environment around them, and to the people that they'll be meeting and the communities they'll be meeting. Whether that's ensuring kind of that they're looking after themselves as well, that their sleep, you know, when we tell them that it's time to go to sleep, that they do that, that they are eating well, that they're drinking well, that they are applying sun cream when required, or bug spray when required, like all of these things to make sure that they are looking after themselves. Then in order for us to be able to look after and have responsibility for your children, we do need to make sure that they are also they're taking the responsibility for themselves. So I know this was probably sent to you, was part of that online application. We do recommend that before going on the program, that you sit with your child, and just to make sure that they understand what the code of, you know, what the rules of the program are. They will be explained again at the start of the program by Libby, by Jake, to make sure there won't be any misunderstandings. But we do need to make sure that the participants will be, you know, especially when they're coming with us to a country like Thailand, that they understand and they can adhere to these things.
Yeah, no, and this I just want to add that during the training day for the Khanichim, we did print all the code of conduct you have agreed to and went over it with the Khanichim. But as Joel said, it will be better to have it on your side as well. It was emailed to you, and it will be important, I think, you go over it with your child as well.
Okay, so like as part of the online application form, like hopefully you, which everyone has completed, like I mean, hopefully that everyone has, um, you know, answered everything openly and honestly. And if, but number one, if anything has changed since in terms of like health conditions or anything like that at all since completing the online application form, we ask that you email into Yasmin at the office, and update us on anything. A, so that we are best able to prepare to cater for your children in the summer. B, to make sure that like the insurance that we've taken out is covers anything that potentially may be required. C, like if we need to prepare a care plan for any participants, that we're able to do that, and to make sure that Libby and Jake are aware of that and are able to kind of like best cater for your children. So it's really important. For us, full disclosure is important, and we really kind of ask to make sure that parents have been doing that throughout this process, continue to do that as we go along. So yeah, if anything has changed in
Yeah,
oh, hello, did I disappear
yeah,
there?
you came back.
I'm back. Okay, fine. I hopefully okay. I think my people heard most of what I was saying. Maybe we'll move on to the next slide.
Now mine is making problem. Okay.
Okay, Yasmin, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, so I emailed you a while ago that as we had the training day before the trip, we will have a closure day on FZY office on the 21st of September. Yeah, to have a nice goodbye with each other with the madrichim, and offer them the future. FZY can show them future programs. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just to add on that is also like for us, like for all of our programs, they're a journey. It's for us, it's not just like they're not standalone programs. We want this to be these we run educational values-based programs, and we want to make sure that kind of like we have a chance to properly process the trip that the participants had, and how they can continue to engage in maybe like Tikkun Olam projects, or to engage in some of the different values that they would have seen throughout their time on the Netina program in Thailand. So it's for us, it's really important to do that. So yeah, 21st of September, that's when that's going to be happening. So more information will obviously come out about that a little bit nearer the time. I think we're closing in towards the end now. Okay, in terms of like communication, so communication will work that we will be providing daily updates most likely via email, possibly via an app that we're using at the moment on our Israel Tour program, but either via email or via an app, we'll be providing daily updates to you, which will kind of like share with you, you know, we'll take what they've done from the itinerary, go into a little bit more detail to share kind of like how those experiences were. Maybe try to where we can to also get some quotes, some photos, and things like that from the participants, so we can hear and see kind of like firsthand kind of like what the participants have been up to and how that's been going along. So you will receive them 6 days a week. We won't be sending it on Shabbat, but Sunday through to Friday we will be sending those out. In terms of like if you need to contact us, our office is open during regular office hours, Monday to Thursday, 9:30 to 7:30, Friday 9:30 to 1. But we have out of office, we have an emergency phone. So if there's any reason why you would need to contact us at any point throughout the trip, there's an emergency phone there, and closer to the summer, we'll make sure that we share that number with you, and it will also be on our office voicemail as well. So you'll have that number in case you need to reach us at any point. And even though it says office times, that's when our office is open in terms of the staff who will be sitting there answering phones. But our staff like are working around the clock, and our staff will be there, obviously Libby and Jake uh, in Thailand. But other staff will be there, whether that's Yasmin, myself, or others will be around to speak with you and to deal with anything which is needed at any time. We'll be putting together a photo gallery, which we'll be updating daily, probably via Dropbox. So we'll send you a link to that, which will probably be in those updates we send regularly on a daily. So you'll be able to like catch up on all of the photos which are happening there as well. And we'll also make sure that we'll be providing extra material as well via social media to be able to share kind of like their story as they go along the trip.
Great.
So, do you want to maybe unshare the screen now, Yasmin,
Yep.
so people can see us more clearly, and we can see
Mhm.
if like there are questions. If there are, just please take yourself off mute, um, and feel free to ask away. Can't
Seems
believe we
like
just
we
have to
did
do
yeah, exactly what I was going to say. Amazing. You can always email me or email the office, obviously, if you have new questions.
Yeah. The one thing that I would say, like, we're like really excited about this trip. Like, this is the first time, as I said, we've been running these types of trips now for about 8 years or so now, with probably a couple of year hiatus in the middle for COVID. And like these trips have been like really, really powerful, meaningful trips for participants. Like to take them to places where generally they haven't been, they haven't experienced before. So a very different culture, very different way of life, and be able to kind of like really understand that and explore that with like these Jewish values running through. Like we see like these trips have been like really, really powerful and meaningful for the participants who have been on it before. We're really excited. This year we're going to Thailand, somewhere where we haven't taken groups previously, but in a place where Justify have run, I mean, dozens and dozens of trips there. So it's not like it's unknown for us as the organizers in general. So we're like really, really happy. We're really excited. Um, and as Jasmine said, if there's no more questions now, like you know where to reach us via the SOI office, how to be in contact with Yasmin. We're more than happy to answer any questions you have at any point in the lead up to the summer and obviously during the program itself. Um, so if there's no more questions, we'll stay online for another minute or so in case there's questions. If not, thank you. Thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for trusting us with your children this summer, taking us away, letting us take them away. And we look forward to like going through this journey with you and with them over, in August, in a month or so from now. So thank you.
Thank you so much for joining.